My testimony is that I grew up in a Christian home. Both of my parents were Christians, and we went to church. It was an on-again, off-again thing with them for the most part. I was born again at the age of 12. My father knelt down on the floor with me and prayed the prayer of salvation with me, and that was incredibly special. I received baptism in the Holy Spirit with the evidence of speaking in tongues at the age of 16. I was in a personal Bible study at the time when that happened. My parents, once they received baptism of the Holy Spirit, got the left foot of fellowship from the denomination we were in at the time. But that opened the door for us to go to a lot of the believers conventions and Jesus movement meetings that were going on at the time. Incredible amount of exposure that I got to hearing preachers like Kenneth Copeland and Kenneth Hagin, and even T.L. Osborne. I remember getting to see him at one of the believers conventions, and even then I knew what a great, incredible privilege that was. I took notes, and sadly to say I don't know where any of those are, but I do wish I could get my hands on those. I would have been very young at the time, young teenager, when all of that was going on. The most incredible impacting revelation I believe that I got came during a great crisis, which I think happens with a lot of people, and that is that I was in a situation where I thought some very bad things were about to happen with my children, and it was just devastating at the time, and in the middle of it, not knowing what the end result was going to be. And I just remember I was teaching the kids at the time, and I remember listening to them. They were laughing and playing and just having a great time. And as I'm listening to them laugh, I just asked God, I said, God, how can I serve children? How could I do children's ministry? How can I continue in this if something happens to my children? And his answer was very plain. It was not an audible voice, but on the inside, I heard him tell me, "It's all to get you to grow, to draw back, not grow back. It was all to get you to draw back." And at that moment, I think is when I grew a spiritual spine. I was determined at that point that I was never going to let the enemy stop me from doing what God has called me to do. And the Hebrews 10:39 became, my daily confession, was that I am not of those that draw back. And so in everything that has happened in my life, and there's been a lot of hard times, I just have pushed through, made the choice, made the decision to continue to serve God, no matter the cost, no matter the pain that I'm going through, no matter the hardships, no matter what's going on around me. I just refuse to let the cares of the world make me draw back, and I refuse to give the enemy place in that part of my life. And so I just encourage you to do the same. Make that decision, make that choice, that there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing exactly what God's called you to do.